All right, so hey everyone. So I'm sitting here with a good friend, Andrew Meier.
Hey, George.
Hey man, hey, great hanging out with you. So a great friend and also a very strong business partner. He's a market leader in the St. Louis market. His wife Shelby also is a significant leader within our company and plays a very vital role in this overall success picture. And it's been awesome getting to know you guys over the last 7
years now.
7 years. We met at the Mizzou tailgate.
That's right.
About a year prior to that, you graduated college, and I'll let you share your story. But for those of you watching, a lot of you will interview with Andrew or his wife Shelby, or both of them. They're both very active roles within the business. If you're not interviewing in the St. Louis market and you're a part of our company in the future, you definitely want to seek these guys out because they have achieved such high levels of success in every facet of our business. It's really incredible what you guys have done in such a short period of time. But before we get into the business piece, why don't you tell everyone a little bit about your family, what makes you guys tick, what you value, stuff like that.
Yeah, been with the company 7 years. I'm married to my wonderful wife, Shelby. We've got 3 kids and one on the way, and we value quite a few things, but I'd say our faith is probably number one. That's where we spend a lot of my time. My wife, George, is extremely active in the church, as you know.
Yeah.
So, we all volunteer as a family every weekend. So.
Awesome. What are a couple of things you guys do in the church? Because she really does play an active role.
Well, she does a little bit of everything, George. The better question is, what doesn't she do? She's director of the cameras and the crew, so she's doing that. We as a family are up there every weekend. So my girls, Audrey and Andrea, they both serve on the weekends. So they're up there on stage leading worship.
That's cool.
And so it is pretty cool. So
future sales reps, right?
Well, we hope so. I'm on the ushering team. I lead that team. So we're always looking to obviously fill more bodies into the church. So
yeah. Cool, man.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about changing gears here. Talk about what brought you and Shelby into this business. What are maybe the top 2 or 3 characteristics of the company that at that time when you were looking and you had options that really fit your life?
Sure. So, it was a lot different when I first started, George, as you know. I was just graduated from Mizzou. Life looked a whole lot different back then. So when I started with the company, number one reason I came here, truthfully, was to advance at my own pace. So a lot of the corporate jobs that I was comparing to Family Heritage to at the time, there was really nowhere else where, for me at that time, making 6 figures was a considerable amount of money. And I know it may be for a lot of you listening too. So there was really no other vehicle with the background I had in business and education. I dual majored in Mizzou, as you know, that really could fast track me to making the type of money that I desired to make, therefore allowing me to live the type of lifestyle I wanted to choose quicker than a lot of the other options.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I could have got there, but it would have just taken a lot longer.
Yeah. So that's what brought you here initially. What's kept you here, and what do you value most about your career now?
Sure. So that's a lot different. Growth, 100% the word growth. The people we get to work with, they're here to support you. George is not only a great friend, but he's been there for me and my family. Other times when things haven't been as good too. So I'd say growth, but also freedom is a big thing. A lot of people we interview for this opportunity, George, and you can relate to this, they kind of have a work life, and then they try and fit their life in around it.
Yeah.
And I really feel like here, if you do what the company promotes, you do what we say in the interview process, you really can have a life and fit your work schedule around it. And for me and my wife, we have 3 kids, one on the way, with all the other things that life entails. It truly allows you, it's a lifestyle type business. And so that's what keeps us here, is we can do the things that are important to us when we decide to do them, and work
Nice.
the business around that. So
Nice, very good. Andrew, as you're considering a lot of the people watching this video, some of them will make it in for an interview. What are the top 2 or 3 characteristics that you look for, that you're going to be looking for as you're taking somebody through an interview in the candidate?
Sure. Yeah. So the 3 things I tell everyone that I look for is real simple. Number 1, you've got to be extremely coachable. So that entails just following the system. You don't have to create anything here. We have a tried and true system that works. So number one is coachable. Number two, I would say though, is a great attitude. And that sounds so cliche, but I guess what I mean for that is a true servant heart to take this opportunity, and we do a great thing for families and business owners. So to do what we train you to do with a servant heart, a good attitude, a positive outlook on life. And then number three is just work hard. We ask that everyone that we work with is willing to put in a 40-hour work week and just really follow the systems that we have in place. So
awesome, nice. Okay, so he's not expecting this next part that I'm going to say, but I want to tell you what I appreciate about you, and y'all need to understand what this individual to my left has done within this business. And it's been so cool, by the way, seeing you and Shelby just mold your life around all the values and principles that are so important to you, with faith being at the very top and family following second. Is that the right order?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And the reason I know that is because we spent a lot of time, you guys wear that on your sleeve. I mean, that is your heartbeat, and that is who you are, and that's how you live your life and run your business. I think that's amazing. But couple of things that you all need to know about him. He's the number one representative from a personal sales standpoint in the history of the state of Missouri. And you knew that, right?
I got reminded. It's good to get reminded.
Good to get reminded. And recognition when recognition is earned and due. I mean, you've worked super hard for that. He continues to be a sales leader in the top 10 to 15 on average yearly nationwide within all of Family Heritage. We're talking about thousands of representatives, and this individual that a lot of you will have the opportunity to interview with and be considered for hiring by is in the top 10 to 15 every year annually. His wife is one of the elite business managers, recruiters, and kind of wears a totally different hat than Andrew, but these two work so well together. The second thing is your loyalty to the people that you work with. And the reason why that's so important is because when he partners with somebody, when he offers a position and the individual accepts and comes on, he spends the time, the energy, the communication, and he does it all with integrity. And so, I mean, I think that's why you guys have seen, for those two things, why you've seen so much growth in this market with this company. Because, Andrew, you didn't come into this career with any industry background, right?
No, none at all.
Okay, so right out of college, you were
fresh
20...
21, 22, just 20, yeah, 21.
We interviewed in December of December of that year.
2011, yeah.
You got your license, and then your first full production month was January.
Yeah.
Right?
January of 2012.
2012. I have three more questions for you.
Sure.
What's the hardest part about this?
I'd say the hardest thing about this is really just learning to manage yourself. So I referenced earlier the reason I'm here, but I also feel like that's something that a lot of people struggle with. I know I did early on in my career, is truly having a life-based business where you work around it. A lot of people hear that and it sounds attractive to them, but
then they don't put in the time to create the life.
That's it.
Yeah.
They lose that focus. So really putting in the time, just to make sure you maintain that.
Yeah. So sacrifice in the beginning, hard work in the beginning, a lot of unexpected variables because it was new for you, it was new for me, it's new for most people. Yeah. So then kind of a piggyback on that question, and I've got the two more left. Just talk briefly about the level of support and training, because if it's new and it's hard, it's really hard to do that totally on your own, especially if you don't know what you're doing.
Sure.
But you knew what you were doing. You knew well enough, right? So talk about the training and the support that you started with.
Yeah, so when I started, the training was, we had corporate training first off. So the company, we take care of you, we fly you out, and you have basically a boot camp for a week. But then you hit the real field, right? And I think that's where the training really comes into play. And I know the people that I work with, so not only are you going to go belly to belly with the trainer for 3 qualified days at least your first week, and then thereafter every single week as you need it. But there's constant mentoring, phone calls. I know George, there was many early mornings and late nights, I was calling you just to reflect on my day, to gather tips for the next day, to reflect on how the week was, month was. So there's weekly reviews, monthly reviews. So, training's never done here. I'm still being trained now, and George's as well. So it's not, this is not a company where you've arrived positionally. We're always looking to grow and train, and so we just train down, right?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, and that happens to be one of our core values, the growth mindset.
Yep.
We're always progressing. So, last 2 questions. Favorite vacation that was paid for by the company?
Favorite vacation? My goodness gracious. Well, I'm gonna have to go with the most recent one. So, Panama. So it was a phenomenal trip. So
that was pretty cool.
They've all been good. It's hard to choose, George.
Yeah.
I mean, every single trip. We've been overseas. We've been South America. Italy a couple times on the company's dime. So.
Oh man.
But yeah, Panama was pretty neat.
Yeah,
so.
I think we played more volleyball than we slept.
Yeah.
That was awesome. So if they've got a beach and a volleyball court, we're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Last question is to you, or the last question for you. Andrew, for somebody that's not from the industry or from the industry, regardless of their backgrounds, somebody that's watching that has a huge heart and a passion for growth, right? And they're really intentional about creating a life that's better than wherever they are. Paint a picture of the vision of where they can go in this career from a leadership and a growth standpoint. We're in St. Louis. It's a huge market. We've got a few reps. What opportunity lies ahead of them if they take action and do the right things?
Sure. Well, the opportunity really is as big as you can dream it. So we are really blessed to be in this market because there's really not a whole lot of competition in the St. Louis market with any of our competitors. So it's really up to the individual how far they want to take this. The question I would be asking myself if I was viewing this is, hey, do you want to be a sales rep? Do you make good 6-figure income and have less responsibilities within the culture? That's fine. We'll love on you. We love top salespeople. So do you want to be a team leader? Do you want to have a small team, 3, 4, 5, 6 people, and just kind of manage a really intimate team? And there's people that we work with, George, that do that, and they're phenomenally well at it, and they make 6 figures, $250,000 type incomes, right? Or do you want to be an agency owner? And anybody that comes into this office that we hire, if they have a dream big enough, there's a position here to fill it. So it's just really a matter of how big do you want to make your business and how much sweat equity are you willing to put in to get to where you want to go.
Awesome. Appreciate you, my friend.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah.
And keep being amazing.
Cool. Thank you, George.